And just like that, we're in Mexico. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we are here again with the Yamaha Grizzly. I almost said Brune, but it's not. It's a Grizzly. As much as some people want to say it's a Brune, this is actually a Grizzly because I think they stopped making the Brune after a certain year, and they only made the Grizzly, and that's why this one is still the way it is. I think it was one of those like Yamaha's like, well, everyone likes a smaller engine, let's just advertise it as a Grizzly now. But we are here with the carburetor. This is part 2. If you haven't seen part 1, I'm going to link it up above here for you to go check out, where we took everything apart. We let it sit in the chem dip. Now, I let it sit for 24 hours and took it out. I sprayed it down with carb cleaner, and then I re-soaked it for another 24 hours because, as you can tell, it's still very dirty. So what we're going to do now, I got some more carb cleaner and actually brake clean and an old toothbrush. So we're going to go through, scrub everything down while spraying it and try and get some more of this gunk out of here, because we don't want this little gunk, because this gets in those little holes and passageways that air is supposed to be going through. As I described in the last video, this uses the diaphragm, so if those little passages get clogged or what have you, dirt gets where it's not supposed to, then that could be the issue why we're running at high idle. So let's go through this. We're going to clean this, and we're going to clean all the little parts with the toothbrush and some cleaner, and just make sure everything is nice and clean before we put it all back together, like this flow bowl. I mean, the outside doesn't have to be clean, but we want to make sure it's clean before it goes in. So let's get to work and start cleaning all this up. So I'm doing this over a bucket because I have a bunch of oil dry in the bucket, so this way everything will go in there and get soaked up. Not soaked up, but you get what I'm saying. So basically what this is doing, now I don't have to necessarily do like the outside and the casing, but I am on some parts that are near like where the gaskets are gonna go. I wanna make sure all the loose dirt and everything is not around there. So when I'm putting it together, it doesn't accidentally get back in there. And you do wanna really make sure that the inside of this is clean, because this is a slide for the diaphragm. And if that's not clean, then the diaphragm is not going to slide very well, which means it can get stuck wide open throttle. Much the best that we're gonna get this guy. So let me go set this aside for it to dry, which will be pretty quick because it's brake clean, and then we'll get all the little parts. But first I'm gonna change my gloves, because with brake clean and everything, the gloves will start to kind of, I don't know, they act weird. They like swell up, but I don't know. But I'm gonna go change my gloves, also warm up my hands really quick, because, well, this like makes your hands freezing cold, and currently it's cold outside. So yeah, let me go grab all the parts and change my gloves. Now if you guys recognize this is a slide that I had taken off, and I also had taken off the diaphragm just now because it's a rubbery piece that you don't want to get damaged, so I took it off so it doesn't get weakened, because as you saw what my gloves had done after the brake clean, I don't want that happening to the diaphragm. So we're going to just kind of spray this down really quick. Try not to drop it. Just very lightly. And scrub it decently. Make sure it's all nice and crud free. Because carburetors are very finicky. They can be nice, but they can be finicky. We'll set that aside. Next thing are all the little brass pieces from the float bowl. If I can hold it and speak. It's always good to wear safety glasses when you're doing this, because I don't know if you can tell, but it spatters a lot. And it can possibly get in your eye, and it will burn, and it's not fun. So get yourself safety glasses if you don't have them already. They're cheap, and it goes along the same line of a little prevention goes a long way. Alright, all the little parts are clean. I'm going to let it all dry off really quickly. Again, change my gloves because that's what brake clean will do to rubber and vinyl. I don't know what these gloves are. I think they're vinyl gloves. And we don't want that happening to diaphragm. So now everything will dry up. I'll get on the workbench and we will start piecing everything back together. Alright, so this gasket I'm holding in my hand is for the float bowl. It is a little bit dirty, so I'm just wiping it down with my fingers because, again, I don't want brake clean or carburetor cleaner to get on this rubber gasket or seal. So I'm just wiping it down with my fingers, making sure all the dirt, debris is kind of off of it. And then next thing you do is start putting all these little pieces back in to their respective places. Next thing will be the side diaphragm. And again, this is a rubber piece. So if anything, use like water, just regular soapy water to clean these diaphragms because you don't want these to get ruined because these can be the costly pieces of the carburetor. And this does go back a certain way, so just make sure it lines up back where it needs to be. As soon as this is done drying, we'll throw this on top and get it back in the four-wheeler. So I will see you guys when we're about to put this in the four-wheeler. Alright, so next thing to do, I had a paper towel in here protecting the inlet to the engine so no really big debris or anything got in there. Now everything looks wet because I kind of just sprayed it with carburetor cleaner to clean up the jet for the choke. And now we're going to put the throttle cable on, and to do that, just going to slide it in through this hose opening here. Let me set down this brass piece and not lose it. Alright, so now that we got all that hooked up, next is to put the air box back in. Alright, so we just put the air box in, hooked up all the air lines and everything that we need. Well, hooked up to it. And then now we just gotta tighten everything down. Make sure the carburetor is pushed into this boot all the way. And this boot's all the way on as well. Because these carburetors, you cannot have air leaks or anything like that, so everything has to be tight and screwed in properly. So it's all connected, all the hoses are on. Next thing is to do the air filter. Now I did mention I was going to buy a new one because, well, it shouldn't be in two pieces like this, and it shouldn't be as deteriorated as it is. Someone did not take care of it, they did not clean it, so we'll pitch that. And just like that, we got a new air filter. This is the original canister that sits in here like that. So let's open this bad boy up. Look at the difference in that. This thing's gonna hopefully perform beautifully. So you just pop the air filter in like that, give it a little tap. Now the next thing is this guy right here. So we'll throw this on. I don't really know what this is for, but it was there, so we'll put it back on. Now we're going to open the garage door, pull it outside, fire it up before we do all the finishing touches, get it up to temperature and see if the high idle has gone away, adjust things as need be, seeing as we can get into the carburetor and adjust what we need to, idle and air, fuel, whatever. So let's do that now and hopefully it all works out good for us. Alright everyone, so I just drove it around for a little bit. It's up to temp and it's sitting at low idle, which that's exactly what we needed, because before, once it got warmed up, it would hit high idle and you could not put it into reverse and you couldn't put it into forward. It does not let you when it's sitting at high idle because the gears are moving too fast. So you go to put it into gear and it won't go, and it'll grind as if you were grinding gears in like a manual car. So we got reverse. Let me back it up here. Oops. Put it into forward. Just like that, we're in Mexico. Reverse. Back. Try not to back into my dad's car here. Alright. Now let's shut it off. It's off. It's pretty warm. And fires right up. So, I don't know if you can tell while I was riding around, but it's snowing currently. It's not really sticking, but we've had a couple snowfalls that would stick, go away, stick, go away. And that's why I've been wanting to get this thing ready, because I plan on throwing that plow right down here on it. And it's actually a Yamaha plow, so it's kind of nice. I paid $100 for it. Got to throw that on, but first got to mount a winch to it. But this is it for this video. We got the carburetor all done, and before I put this together, you'll see when I go to install the winch why I'm going to leave it like this, but it seems to be running good. I'm going to let it idle and do what it needs to make sure it's all good before I move on to the next thing. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. If you didn't, go ahead and hit the dislike button, but let me know what I can improve on for next video. And as always, if you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you guys later. Bye.